We had a 10-foot culvert in here, and we've always had water problems when the water got rained a lot, as far as backing up and having to watch for high creek levels. And didn't ever relate it to that 10-foot culvert was making the plug. But got involved with the stewardship program for ours, where we went through the classes, and part of it was a site visit. We talked about the culvert. They thought it was a fish barrier and suggested I apply for the triple FPP program. As I'm a little reluctant, as a lot of people are, about signing up for something you don't really know too much about or making commitments where other people have the chance to get into it, but I would encourage anybody who is even thinking about it to go ahead and apply, because it is a beautiful program, and this is an example of it. There's no way that I could log the majority of this property without having that bridge in place. It is that important to me.
This program is a three-pronged program. It's DNR, Department of Natural Resources, and we determine eligibility. And then we have Fish and Wildlife, who determines if the barrier is a barrier to fish. And then we have Recreation and Conservation District, who pays all the bills, basically, is the funding source. On this project, it's been great. ELMER had a cost share on the west side, which is a $5,000 cost share, but we tried to do in-kind work to get that cost down for the landowner so that they may not have to pay as much. But most landowners, if they haven't harvested any timber at all, there's $0 that they have to provide. These projects are funded on a priority basis by WIRA. We look at how many barriers are upstream and downstream of these crossings, quality of habitat, type of habitat, and what type of fish use these streams. We've fixed 416 barriers across the state and opened 1,001 miles of stream for fish. So that was a milestone this last year, and looking forward to more. Clearly we have a backlog of projects out there and could use some additional dollars to get more projects fixed, which would be good for the landowner and good for the fish.
So I have worked at the Lewis Conservation District since 2000. We have been involved in lots of culvert projects. The triple FPP program has been by far the easiest program, and we have been involved with that. We've replaced several culverts over many years since the very beginning of the implementation of the program. It's very easy. The landowner applies. We can help them survey their culvert. We can help them figure out the application process. We can also fill out the permits for them. And it's just, it provides the funding. It makes it really easy for the landowner. It is by far the best program that we work with.
It was in February of 2017. We had about 8 inches of snow with a lot of rain that came afterwards. It was a quick melt. It was a Sunday morning. I looked out, and the water in the creek was real high. I told my wife I have to get a camera. And I made the trip around and took pictures, and the water was running around over the road where the culvert was. The culvert had about a half flow out of the back and was starting to bubble up from the front right at the top of the road. After I got the pictures, I went back, and about 2 hours later I looked, and the creek had dropped. Walked back out, and the culvert had already blown out, and needless to say, I had quite a hole. It was, I didn't realize just how important removing that culvert and putting the bridge in was, because our water problems have disappeared. Even with all the rain we had back in December of this year, the stream was not up. It's been a beautiful blessing.
Most fish passage projects, these are fairly expensive to put a bridge in, but the benefits to the fish and the flow of the stream is immense. So we definitely want to get these projects done. This is probably one of the best things we can do for fish, and there are a lot of forest culverts that are expensive to put in. The landowner can't afford it, so it's not going to get done.
What's really great is this benefit is the landowner gets a great bridge or crossing, right? It could be a culvert. And so that they could actually still manage their forest lands while it's a great benefit to the fish.
Well, my plan in the next year, if the market goes right, is to harvest about 5 acres here behind me. And the biggest reason for it is if you look at the tops of the trees, some of them are bent, which is a sign that there's a root rot starting in there. And the idea is to get it controlled before it spreads on. The only way that I can get them out is to take the logs back around and across that new bridge that we have from FFP. That was needed to do any harvesting back here, so it is extremely important.